What is up, everybody? Welcome back once again to Hot Toys Hotline. As always, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. We are currently sitting at around 700 subscribers, and we have a current goal of 750 subscribers. So if you haven't already, and you want to be notified when I upload new content, as well as when we go live every Thursday at 7 p.m. EST, please consider doing so, and also consider dropping a like on this video if you enjoyed this video. Guys, I have a very special figure review for you today. Today I will be unboxing and reviewing the Japan exclusive Endgame Loki figure by Hot Toys. I'm really excited to show you guys this one. I haven't seen any reviews for this version up yet on YouTube, so I'm really excited to show that to you all. Special thanks to my friend Monica for hooking me up with somebody who I could get this through in Japan. Very, very much appreciate that, my friend. But let's take a look at the figure and everything that it includes. Alright, real quick, I wanted to show you all what the Japan exclusive box looks like before we jump into taking a look at the clamshell and how everything arrives to you. Guys, the only difference between the main release Endgame Loki and the Japan exclusive is this special edition sticker here in the top right corner, indicating that this is a special edition, so it includes a special edition accessory. We will take a look at that later, but also I wanted to give you guys a close-up of this beautiful packaging here with the gold and green throughout. I think it looks absolutely amazing, but again, that is the only main difference there, is that special edition sticker in the top right corner. So I just wanted to point that out to you all. But let's get the clamshell out of the box and take a closer look at how everything arrives to you. Okay, now before we dive into the details of all the accessories as well as the figure, as I said, I would love to show you how it arrives to you when it first ships to you. Of course, you can see we have accessories in this front clamshell here. When you remove the front of the clamshell, you are greeted with the remainder of the accessories as well as the figure. Of course, we're not taking a close look right now, but I will show you a bit of a close-up here, how everything arrives in the box. Guys, I have not looked at this yet. Of course, I took the plastic off of the figure for the purposes of this video, but I am really excited to take a closer look and dive in with you all. So let's take the figure and all of the accessories out of the box and take a closer look at the details. Okay, as always, we always take a look at the accessories first, because you know I like to tease you guys. So we're going to look at the accessories, and then we'll take a closer look at Loki himself. Let's start off with these little daggers here to the right, guys, because I really want to take a look at these. These look absolutely awesome. Of course, they both have a different design, which is really cool to see. And you'll see once we take a look at the hands that he does come with a hand for both the left and right side, thankfully, to hold these daggers, which I think is absolutely awesome. Flipping it over to the other side, you can see it is the exact same design on both. But these are very cool nonetheless, and I'm glad to have these because you know Loki's signature weapon throughout all of the films and the TV show are his signature daggers. So this is really cool to see. Next, guys, we'll move on to the hands. First, I'll grab these pegs just to get those out of the way. We love to see these spare hand pegs. Sometimes they break on you. It's nice to have a good stock of these laying around. So thank you, Hot Toys, as always, for including spares. Next, we'll move on to the hands. I will grab this pair together because these are both the same type of hand. So you can see close-up details, really nice details. Let me get even closer. Really nice details on the armor plating on the hand. I think that looks absolutely awesome. Moving it around, you can see some nice skin texture. Of course, these are like your staff holding hands, and you can see the other one is no different. It's just mirrored on the other side. So that's cool to see that we have one for both sides. Always love to see options there. Next, guys, these are the dagger holding hands that I mentioned earlier. You could see same awesome armor plating detail on these, same great skin texture, but these are definitely meant to hold those awesome daggers to kind of replicate that signature Loki pose. Of course, that is the same mirrored on the other side here with this hand. Very glad that they included these. These are a must. Next, these are very similar hands, but a little bit different. So you can see this is kind of an open, relaxed hand. This one can absolutely be used with a dagger as well, and I kind of like those open fingers there. I think that creates a really cool kind of fancy effect in the way that he's holding the blade. So I think that's really cool. I wanted to point out these are very, very similar. I wanted to change the angle here because you could see when you have them next to each other like this, you can see the gap in this hand here is a bit more than that one. So looks made to deceive you. They are not the exact same hand, just mirrored on both sides. They are slightly different. So those are really cool hands. Love to see it. And then finally, guys, we have another different kind of open, relaxed hand with the fingers more sprawled out here. And this one looks really cool as well. And again, same great paint detail. Love that armor and that kind of patinaed look on his armor. Very, very cool. Even down to the fingernails. They are very nicely painted, and I think these look fantastic as always from Hot Toys. Next, guys, we're going to grab a more basic accessory, but very cool, of course. This is our Tesseract cube, guys. This is really cool. I did notice when I took mine out of the box, you can kind of see it here in the photo, there is a scratch on it. Of course, I did buy this new in box, so unfortunately that is a defect from the factory. But if you aren't careful with this, you're going to scratch it yourself. Of course, this is just polished plastic, but nothing crazy here, just kind of a translucent blue square. But of course, what this represents is huge in the MCU. This is the Tesseract, guys. Next, we will grab Loki's helmet. So I know a lot of people who initially saw this in the final product photos were saying it's a little too big. I would say maybe just slightly. We'll wait and see when we put it on the figure how I feel about it in person. But just looking at it here, it does look slightly too big. But apart from that, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. I think the effect on the paint job is really, really nice. If we can get kind of close up on that, you can see really nice, like dirtied brass look almost on this helmet. I think it looks fantastic. And I know this does separate. Yeah, so you take this apart here, and that's how you put it on his head. Of course, like I said, we will put it on his head later, but I think this is really cool. And of course, the inside of the helmet has foam to protect that head sculpt as much as you can. Next, guys, we'll grab the shackles. Now, what's cool about these shackles is we do have a real metal chain. I don't know if you can pick that up on camera. Let's see if we can get the noise of it. Maybe just a little there, but yes, these are the shackles for Loki, guys, so we're definitely going to take a look at what these look like on the figure later, but definitely really cool. I love to see real metal where it makes sense, and I think it makes a lot of sense here for the shackles. Next, guys, we do have the muzzle mouthpiece for Loki. We do see some foam on the inside there, but this looks very nice. I think it's very nicely detailed. Nice painted in detail there. Considering how small that is, I think that looks absolutely incredible, and I am interested to see what this looks like on the figure for sure. Next, we'll move on to the display base. A very nice looking display base, but very simple, of course, as all the Avengers Endgame bases are. Once again, the name is on a plastic front, which I'm not a huge fan of. I love to see the metal nameplates. You can also see mine's quite scratched up here, so that's unfortunate. That's a bit of a crappy QC, huh? But nonetheless, this is a neat looking base. I don't know if I will use this, but of course I will use it for the purposes of this video. And this does come with your standard crotch grabber. All right, but next, let's take a look at the staffs. We'll grab the largest one first. You could see really, really nice detail there. I love that kind of like weathering detail splattered all over the metal. That's really cool looking. Let's see if we can get even closer on that little jewel there. Really, really cool. And if you guys have seen the 2012 Avengers, you know how powerful this staff really is. This is the longest of the three, as I said, so you can see if we back up here, it is quite long. I would say this is definitely close to a foot long, if not beyond that. Definitely a really, really cool piece. This will be the most difficult to display your Loki with just because it is so long, but I'm sure some of you will make it work. If we get close up, you can see all that line etched detail in the metal, quote unquote, of the staff. And we have that same kind of speckling throughout, just like on the blade. Really, really cool. Next, guys, we will move on to the smaller one here. Again, same great detail, same beautiful section there with that clear translucent blue plastic. And going throughout, we have that same etched in detail on the handle, as well as that speckling that we mentioned with the previous one. Really, really nicely done, and I think this looks absolutely incredible. This would be what came with the 2012 Endgame Captain America, so if you have that, this looks very familiar. Now, the one that is exclusive to this set, and that I will show you more in detail later, is this one here. Now, you see that special edition accessory sitting in the background there, and this is what pairs with that. This has that same beautiful translucent blue plastic, as well as the etched in detail on the handle as well, with that same speckling. But there is a special purpose for this one here, so why not move on to the final piece here? Now, guys, here it is. This is the piece that everybody has been talking about. This is the piece that everybody wants. Unfortunately, this was a Japan exclusive special edition accessory. You can see that beautiful Stark Industries plate there on the front. If you've seen the first Avengers film, you know exactly where this is from. I'm really excited to show you this lit up later on in the video. Right before the posing segment, I promise you I will show you guys what this looks like with the staff attached and the lights turned on. I did put the batteries in for the purposes of this video, and I can't wait to take a look at that with you guys because I've not taken a good look at it, but I'm definitely really excited to show you this, guys, lit up later in the video. Now you can see all the different details here in that nice chrome finish. This looks absolutely incredible. If we turn around to the back, you can see all that wiring, and this is kind of a fake simulated wiring here. I think that's really cool. all that little tiny detail with the bolts and such going through. I think this is really, really cool. This is almost like a plasticky rubber here, and obviously it's a bit dangly because I have it up in the air, but it's meant to sit on the ground and you can kind of adjust it how you want to on your display. These boxes here are plastic, and again, same great detail on there. Really, really excited to get this, guys, and really excited to take a look at it later, all lit up with the staff in it. But of course, now we have to grab Loki himself and take a closer look at the figure and all of the details. All right, guys, now here we are in the light box with Loki himself. Of course, right off the bat, we're going to take a look at that head sculpt. There was a lot of controversy surrounding this head sculpt, so I want to share my thoughts on the head sculpt and kind of see what the talk is all about and see what I think of this figure in person versus what I've seen in photos. Of course, you could see the likeness here, I think, is a stunning likeness to Tom Hiddleston. I have absolutely zero complaints there. I think this looks just like him. Let me grab my light here and put a little bit more light on his face so you can see it in different lighting. I think this looks absolutely incredible in terms of the likeness. I have zero complaints about that. Now, guys, the next thing that everybody's been talking about, which is the talk of the town, or I should say was when this first released, is the hair, guys. And you could see from that front shot, there's kind of no life to that hair. It's very pinched down. And the reason they did that is because of that helmet I showed you guys earlier. Instead of opting for a swap out magnetic hairpiece, they decided to pinch the hair down so the helmet could fit over it. I'm not a huge fan of that decision, I'll be honest with you guys. Me personally, I'm not going to display him without the helmet on. However, they should be giving us options. We have seen this before in the past, especially with like Bespin Luke, for example. His hair was removable. They certainly could have done a removable hair piece here, but unfortunately they did not do that. If we can move it around to the back, you can see it does look decent from the back here, but again, it's this section here that's very pinched in so the helmet could fit over it, and because of that, it does not have a lot of volume from the front. Of course, if you go through the stills in the movie, there are some shots where his hair is kind of slicked down like this, but for the most part, it does have a bit more volume to it, so I would have liked the option to have maybe a swap out hair piece, or maybe just a helmeted sculpt with the face inside of the helmet. I think that would have been the best solution. However, guys, this is what we got. I'm happy with it. Is that a detractor for me? Absolutely, but I do think the likeness to Tom Hiddleston is absolutely 100% there. Even from the side, I think they absolutely nailed it. It's just that hair for me. I wish they would have done something a bit differently there, but let's not sit here and complain about that. It is what it is. Again, I'm happy with the likeness at least. But let's move on to the suit, guys. I think this looks absolutely incredible. You can see we have a lot of mixed media going on here. We have pleather, we have some plastic sculpted bits, we have the underside of the pleather lined with a nice cloth. We have all these different detailed bits throughout the suit, and I think it creates a really nice, convincing overall look. I love this kind of etched in detail here on these like kind of armor pieces. There is a lot of pleather on this, guys, unfortunately. You can see this is kind of all soft pleather here, but there's a bunch of different materials here. This almost feels like the outside of a suit on a Marvel figure. I don't know how to describe it. It could be a thin pleather, but it does not feel like this. This is definitely like a soft pleather. This does not have the typical feel of pleather, and that's probably because it has this printed design on it. It's probably a slightly different material. This is also a like printed design here. On the underside, we do have that same cloth, and it's nice that we have kind of this under detail here as well, printed on the cloth on a part you wouldn't really see very often. That's very cool to see. If we move this out of the way, we could see the details on his pants. Again, a lot of pleather. This is all pleather here, so if you're not a fan of pleather, you're not going to be a fan of this figure. Moving down to the boots, excuse me, let me get this out of the way. Moving down to the boots, you could see really, really nice detail on the boots, and these are split cut boots, which is nice. I don't know how posable that'll be because this piece hangs down here, but I think it'll be pretty decent, to be honest with you, and I think these look absolutely awesome. Let's take a look at our tread. Some nice tread there. Of course, we got our advertisement on the bottom. Hate to see it. 2021 Hot Toys Limited. Yeah, right. 2021, huh? But anyways, guys, let's take a look at the cape. I think the cape looks pretty nice. This is, of course, a soft cloth material, as they typically do with these kind of drape-style capes. I love the look of the pleats here. I think these pleats are really nicely done. And, of course, you can kind of pose this and stretch it out any way that you want. The attachment points you can see here are at the shoulder, and I think that is nicely done as well. If we lift it up, we can take a look at the gear on the back. Once again, that same heavy pleather material. A lot of pleather on this figure, guys. And you can see, even on the front here, this is a different, like, soft pleather versus what we're seeing here on the front, which I said is kind of like a suit material from Marvel. Really interesting. There's a really intricate pattern here if you look on the back of his pants. This feels like it is printed on. This is really, really cool. I love to see those details kind of hidden within the figure. Very, very cool. Sorry for the cut there, guys. Moving back to the front, I did want to show you that he comes with two kind of open, relaxed hands. We saw all of the other hands in the accessory portion of the video, but I did want to show you that. In terms of articulation, because of all the pleather, guys, I'm not going to push my personal copy, I'll be honest with you. Our friend MRC, as always, is the one to push these figures to their limits. So if you want to see that done, check it out. These definitely could go full 90. I'm just not going to push it once again. In terms of the elbow bend, you could definitely get a full 90 again. I'm not going to push it because this is a lot of pleather, and you guys know how careful I am with my figures. If we've moved down here to the knee joint, I could tell you this is absolutely going to get a full 90. It just depends on how far you want to push it. You can already see this material kind of bunching up, so that's why I'm not going to push mine personally. We had this question earlier, how are these split cut boots? I think they're decent enough. This material, thankfully, is very pliable, so I can't really complain about that. We're getting exactly what we want out of it. Now, moving up to the head, I kind of skipped over that. I'm very curious to see how much this head can move. This is a kind of softer plastic. If you have the Hot Toys Qui-Gon, it's not that plastic, thankfully. This is closer to the Endgame Fat Thor, and I don't think there's really much limitation to the articulation. Considering how close that hair is to the body, I have no issues with that. But guys, now we're going to throw Loki in some poses. Of course, again, we're going to take a look at that special edition accessory lit up. I'm going to turn the lights down in the booth, and we're going to see what we could do with this figure. Alright, my friends, we are back. Let's get into my final thoughts on the Japan exclusive Endgame Loki by Hot Toys. So right off the bat, I will state the negatives, which I did mention most of them throughout the video. Number one, there is a lot of pleather on this figure. Obviously, moving forward, we'd like to see less and less of that because the material just does not stand the test of time. We know this. Some areas are more humid than others, of course, but in humid areas, it really takes a beating. So because of that, I have to take some points off for that. I'm not a huge fan of all the pleather. But with that being said, I think it looks fantastic. I just wish they used better materials moving forward. Also, guys, another thing that I noticed while filming this video and while messing around with it, the dagger holding hand, you can see him right now. He has the dagger in his hand. They don't hold the daggers very well. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get the daggers situated to where it doesn't fall out. Of course, you can do it because you can see I have it done here. But if you bump them at all and you don't have it really situated in there, it does just fall out. And that goes for both of the daggers. And actually, one of the daggers is designed differently. So I think he does hold that one a little bit better than the other one. The other one basically just falls out with no effort at all. So there's definitely some points off for that as well. Of course, guys, we did mention the hair on this figure. I wish they would have come up with a better solution for that. Obviously, that was a big topic of conversation when this figure first officially released, and I do understand where people are coming from, especially after having it in hand. They should have done something differently again, maybe some magnetic swap out hair, or maybe they could have put a face sculpt inside of the helmet and have a fully swap out helmeted sculpt. Finally, guys, the last negative I have is that helmet. You have to be very careful when you're putting it on the figure. If you are not, I do see people scraping the hair on the back. It's a bit sharp on the back where the two helmet pieces connect together, and I noticed myself almost scraping that hair on the back. So be very careful with that if you end up picking up this figure. Just know that you have to be very careful when you're putting that helmet together, or else you may risk damaging it. But guys, apart from that, those are the negatives. But guys, let's get into the positives. So this figure actually retails for $260 if you're purchasing in the US from Sideshow. Of course, he has not started shipping yet in Sideshow, but I will put a link in the description to the listing for him from Sideshow so you can pre-order him if you would like. But guys, I think that is a very fair price for what he comes with. Of course, you will not get that extra scepter or the scepter holder that is included with the Japan exclusive. However, everything else that you saw in this video, that is included with him. And I think for $260, that is a very fair price. Also, as I mentioned, I think the likeness to Tom Hiddleston is absolutely fantastic. I think they nailed it. I have no complaints whatsoever about the likeness. The materials, although they are pleather, they do look very, very nice, and all of these sculpted bits are very highly detailed, and I think they did a great job. Going off of what I said about the Scepters, I love the weathering detail throughout and all the different etched details. I think they also look fantastic, as well as that Mind Stone inside the Scepter. I think that looks fantastic as well. So overall, guys, I think this is a wonderful release. There are some negatives, but if you are a fan of the character Loki, I think this is going to be the definitive Loki for a long time. Yes, I know we do have that TVA Loki coming from the Loki show. However, this is that 2012 look. This is also interchangeable with Endgame as well. I think this is a very versatile release, and because it has that 2012 look with the helmet and the long scepter, this has to go to the definitive Loki spot for me. This is my first Loki in my collection. I do look forward to getting that TVA Loki. However, this one is definitely going to be my definitive Loki for the foreseeable future, just because this is my favorite look for Loki. So guys, that's really all I have to say about this guy. If you're hesitant on picking him up, I think it's well worth it. And I do think this is one, if you're purchasing from many sites in the US especially, it's going to sit for a little bit. You'll have a chance to get a deal on it, use some rewards, use coupon codes, whatever you have at your disposal. I think you'll be able to get this guy under that $260 price tag and get yourself a really good deal, and it will be well worth it, trust me. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. This is a really special figure. I know this one was a long time coming for us. I mean, this figure took almost, what, 2.5 years to finally release, and he still hasn't started shipping in the US. So hopefully that is right around the corner after Chinese New Year. I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with the things that I did not like about the figure, or do you not have any issues with that? Did you say to yourself, maybe I'll just put the helmet on? I don't really care about the hair. I totally understand. That just had to be a detractor for me, unfortunately. But let us know in the comments below, and I will see you all next time.